Whew! What a weekend in the box office, man. We knew it was going to be big. But just how big was the real question. And the answer was the biggest ever. I am your host, Garrett Neal, and this is your box office brief for the weekend of April 27th through the 29th. And as we all know, it was Infinity War week last weekend, and it capitalized 100%. We'll be unloading every record that thing break, not everyone, because records are one of those things, like you can really dig deep and find random stuff. I didn't go into everything, but we'll be unloading all of that, as well as looking forward to next week to see what will be coming out then. Not too much, don't want to be in Infinity War second week really either. And then that'll be the show. So, without further ado, let's get into this week in the box office. At number one, we all know already, it was, of course, Infinity War. Let's go through the breakdown of what happened. First of all, opened up in a whopping 4,474 theaters. Second of all time. Two, of course, huge monster blockbuster hit, Despicable Me 3. What a beast that movie was. That one somehow opened up in 4,529 theaters. Obviously that's, a decently big franchise. I'm sure they expected to do a lot well at the box office, but when you consider how big of a thing Infinity War was, it was kind of interesting to see that Despicable Me 3 was the one that topped it as far as widest release goes. But Infinity War was the widest PG-13 release of all time. So if we want to really look for some records to give it there, we can hand it that one. Although, of course, its trophy case is packed to the brim full of stuff, so I don't really think we need to give it anything else. And then it started off with those Thursday previews, in which it raked in $39 million. That's when we got the idea that things were going to be big. But even that was not the highest Thursday preview rating. Thursday previews haven't been around too long, really only since the early 2000s, around when the Star Wars prequels were coming out. But, even so, these numbers would probably be more recent films anyway. It's kind of an interesting collection, I guess. The $39 million for the Thursday preview opening from Infinity War is fourth, behind number one being Force Awakens, of course, then Last Jedi at number two, then number three, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows 2. Go figure. Obviously that was a huge deal, the end of the Harry Potter film franchise. Asterix. Fantastic Beasts soon to come. But still the end of that story. But it's just kind of interesting to see then the box office forces that Last Jedi and Force Awakens became. And then Deathly Hallows, obviously it did well. It was 350 or so domestic, but not anywhere close to what those other two films made or what Infinity War will make. So that's not what I expected, but not to be outdone. Friday came in, and Friday was not the fourth highest Friday of all time. Friday was the second highest Friday and second highest grossing day ever for one film at $106 million for Infinity War, behind Force Awakens, which grossed $119 million on its opening Friday. And then it was all over from there, as Infinity War would have the highest Saturday gross ever with $82 million, destroying Jurassic World, $69 million, the previous record. And Infinity War would add the highest Sunday at $69 million, beating out The Force Awakens, which had $6.5 million, and of course Black Panther earlier this year with around $60 million on its Sunday. That all combined to give Avengers Infinity War the largest opening weekend of all time at an astounding $257,698,183. My God. It's incredible. It's not like this has blown anyone's minds that it's a huge film, but Even so, we didn't know. It was projected for around the 235 range. We figured it would be up there, but could it beat Force Awakens? And it didn't just beat it, it beat it by about 10 million. As Force Awakens was 247.9 million. So even so, what the expectations were for Infinity War, which were of course big, this was just even beyond those for me. And anytime you see something do it the biggest or the most, it's always impressive. So, huge deal. Also, Buena Vista, which of course Disney releasing company, they became the fastest studio to $1 billion, taking just 117 days. They made it there on April 27th, which was of course Friday, and beat their own record in 2016 when they made it in 128 days. And if you wanted to know, they also hold the record for third place in 2017. The fourth place is Universal. Way to go. Someone else getting in there, making stuff happen. That was the Jurassic World and Fast and Furious 7 year for Universal. And then, of course, 2016 was the Civil War and the second half of Force Awakens, because they obviously that first couple weeks were in 2015, but then the remainder would go into the 2016 total. So that's where they got that second place record. But of course, now behind Black Panther and Infinity War, blew that record out of the water. And the final one we'll touch on for Infinity War, worldwide opening. This is including, because of course that was all just domestic, because we're a United States centric show. Sorry, but worldwide, including that domestic total, their worldwide total is 640.5 million, which is number one, destroying Fate of the Furious, which held the previous record at a measly 541.9 million. Pfft, that's chump change. Now, terrible. Although Fate of the Furious still has the highest gross. If you just take the global gross, take out that domestic, then Fate of the Furious still has the most. But it is worthy of noting, Avengers Infinity War doesn't open in China, which is the largest market, largest global market. It doesn't open there until May 11th. So it'll get another big boost then. Of course, the real interesting thing here is going to be to see how well does it hold. It's an uncharted territory now. We got really nothing else to compare it to as far as how it'll hold, how long it'll stay at the top. Obviously, it's going to be number one again next weekend, probably even the week after that. We'll see how's it going to be doing when Deadpool 2 comes around, if it's still hanging around the top when Deadpool 2 comes out. Is Deadpool 2 going to impact it a lot? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. Will it get up to 600? Probably. 700 million? I think so. 800 million? I don't know. 900? Approaching Force Awakens? It is yet to be seen because we've never seen anything like this before. Obviously, I think the one thing you got to mention here is that, well, film like recently Black Panther, which held extremely well and is part of what put it at currently the sixth highest, or it was the sixth highest opening. Which, I mean, dude, a movie to have the two of the top 10 highest openings in 1 year or one studio, that's incredible. But it held so well, which is why it was moving up it's number 3 top time grossing right now. But it didn't really have a ton of competition, and you could go into Black Panther fresh. You know, you didn't have to see really any of the other MCU films. You could just pop into it and be like, man, I've been hearing a lot about this Black Panther movie, or, well, this one just intrigues me in particular. Or, you know, maybe you just didn't really want to see the other ones, but wanted to see this one. Whatever it was, if you didn't check out all the other ones, or only some of them here or there, you could go into it and watch it. Force Awakens, you didn't really have to see all the other Star Wars films. I mean, there's only 6, but really, if you did, all you had to see was the original 3, with Han Solo was really the only big carryover, and obviously some allusion to Darth Vader as well, but it was its own story, whereas this, it's not. It doesn't tell the beginning of a story because you just are thrown all these characters, and if you haven't seen their requisite movies, you got no idea what the heck's going on, and it doesn't have that benefit of people being like, hey, this Infinity War thing, maybe I should check it out, because those people, if they do see it, are going to be sorely disappointed and most likely won't go see it because they'll know that they're not going to be able to tell what's happening. So that might hurt how well it's able to hold. But, I know plenty of people who have seen this movie twice already, plan to go see it a third time. I know plenty of people that obviously couldn't go see it twice in one weekend because everything was sold out, and they want to go see it again and a third time and a fourth time. So it's really going to depend on those repeat viewings, but I think it's going to get them a lot because it's been getting very good reviews, and really from everyone I've talked to from a fan perspective, they've really liked it. We're going to go through the particulars. We got that 84% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes with that 93% audience score, average rating of a 4.6. Then IMDb, take a look right there. We got a 8 or 9.0 now on the star rating. It was a little lower than that when I last checked. Then a measly 68 on the Metascore. Who cares about the Metascore on superhero films? But obviously, I've heard almost entirely positive things about this film. So definitely it hit for its target audience. So that will help it. But it's going to be interesting to see how well it holds. But there were other movies that made money this week. Somehow, some way, they did it. Number 2, A Quiet Place, going into its 4th weekend, made $11 million, dropping 47%. And number 3, I Feel Pretty, in its 2nd weekend, dropped about 50%, made $8.1 million this weekend. Rampage, $7.2 million. Dropped 64%. And then at number 5, wouldn't you know it, Black Panther shooting up the charts. Was number 8 last week, all the way up to number 5. Got that Infinity War bump, and it dropped just 4% from last week, despite losing 280 theaters. It's just got that interest, and made $4.7 million to round out the top 5. That's very interesting. One other thing, Super Troopers 2 in its 2nd week dropped a small 75% from its 1st weekend, just showing how much it overperformed that opening week. Still made $3.7 million this week. I don't think they're really worried about that one just because of how well it did that opening week. And it's already out-earned. It took it just 10 days to out-earn the original film, which is kind of funny. And as always, number 12 this week at $1.3 million, the Metropolitan Opera Cendrillon. So I know a lot of you guys out there were wanting to check that one out. Did pretty well this week. But of course, we got to look at that per theater average. Take a look at what's hitting the indie market. Top per theater average was Avengers Infinity War, but we're going to ignore that because, why? It was actually Disobedience, which is in 5 theaters, and made an average of 47 point. Why am I saying point? That's a comma. Come on, Garrett. $47,479 per theater in those 5 theaters. And Disobedience is, let me see, this is what I got to do this. Sorry. Disobedience is a film starring Rachel Weisz and Rachel McAdams. A woman returns to the community that shunned her for her attraction to a childhood friend. Once back, their passions reignite as they explore the boundaries of faith and sexuality. Oh yeah. Got to bring out my Barry White voice for that one. Yeah, I remember seeing a trailer for that. That's has a 6.4 on IMDb right now, 73 Metascore. I don't know. Maybe I'll check it out. Since it'll be a slower week this weekend, kind of. We do actually have 3 new releases, but nothing super exciting. But we'll get into that after a quick break. Whew, had a lot to get through that was literally just all Infinity War, but then we have our new releases coming up this week. So stay tuned. Quick break so I can catch my breath. Hopefully you can get yourselves calm and collected from all that hard info that you probably don't remember most of, because there was just so many numbers. And it's impossible to remember numbers because, at least for me, I'm not a math guy. But let's take a break. I'll stop rambling. See you guys on the other side. Ooh, and we are back. Gonna get ready to look at what's coming up this week. We got 3 new films. But first, gotta hit you guys with some sweet information about what's coming up here on the station. This weekend, we got Demon-thon, which is a 24-hour dance marathon that DePaul hosts every year to raise money for the Robert H. and Ann Laurie Children's Hospital. Hey, if you can't make it to the dance, don't worry about it. You can join right here on Radio DePaul on May 4th through the 5th. That's this weekend, Friday and Saturday, as we cover the entire event live from Demon-thon itself. So join us for exclusive interviews with the families affected, those who organized this amazing experience, and many more heartwarming stories only found on Radio DePaul. We also urge you to donate to this great cause through links on our website, the app, and on social media. Every little bit helps the families at Laurie Children's Hospital, and together we make a real difference. So be sure to listen to the big event May 4th through the 5th, Friday and Saturday this week, on Radio DePaul, Chicago's College Connection. All right, let's get right into it. 3 releases. What do we got up first, Garrett? Well, we have Overboard, starring what's her name? I can't remember. Anna Faris. That's what I meant. And Eva Longoria. And that's, it's a remake of a film starring Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn back in 1987. I have seen this original one, and it was something, man. It was kind of weird and kind of creepy, and the new one looks kind of weird and kind of creepy, and not super pumped about it. It's the same plot of the first one, except they did a kind of a gender switch thing here, but it doesn't really look any better than the original one was. I don't really like the original one was, because it's a really creepy concept. So if you don't know what the concept is, it's a spoiled, wealthy yacht owner is thrown overboard and becomes the target of revenge from his mistreated employee. A remake of the 1987 comedy. So pretty much what it is this guy who, in this new film, is named Leonardo, played by Eugenio Dorbez. I hope I'm saying that right. But he's this big, spoiled, wealthy guy. He doesn't do any work, blah, blah, blah. Overboard, gets amnesia, and then this girl, played by Anna Faris, who used to work for him and doesn't like him, takes him in as her husband and makes him believe that she's her husband, or that he's her husband, and that, and it's, oh my god, it's so weird. And yeah, the other one was the same thing, except for Goldie Hawn was the yacht owner, and Kurt Russell was like the poor person who was pissed off at Goldie Hawn. It's just, I don't like the concept, but it's got a sweet 3.6 on IMDb right now. I think those are people who just think it looks bad, haven't seen it yet, because it has no other ratings on Rotten Tomatoes or Metascore, anything like that. Don't even have any... we do have its long range forecast right now is at 14 million, and it's looking to open in around 1,500 theaters. But it's also going to be competing with week 2 of Infinity War, so we'll see. I think it might come in a little bit below that. Other 2, we got Bad Samaritan, which is a horror thriller directed by Dean Devlin, starring David Tennant. I know who that is. And it's about a pair of burglars who stumble upon a woman being held captive in a home they intended to rob. Actually, yes, yeah, I remember seeing trailers for this too. And David Tennant is he's the bad guy. Ooh, so that could be interesting. We don't have any ratings for this, which is never a good sign, and we don't even have a long-range forecast on Box Office Pro, so not much there. Tully is the final new release, the one that I know I will be seeing this week for a review, and who knows? Maybe I'll check out one of the other two. Probably would rather see Bad Samaritan than Overboard, honestly, or maybe I'll check out Descendants, since that's been seemingly got decent reviews, and maybe it'll expand and it'll be in theater near me, but we'll see what I got time for. I know I'll at least see one, but Tully is a film about Marlo, mother of three, played by Charlize Theron, including a newborn who is gifted a night nanny by her brother, the night nanny being played by Mackenzie Davis, who is named Tully, who is the title character of the film. Marlo comes from a unique bond with thoughtful, surprising, and sometimes challenging young nanny named Tully. There we go. And it's directed by the same man who directed Juno, Jason Reitman, and he's done some other stuff as well. But they're really billing this as like a spiritual successor to Juno, which is strange because I don't really see. I mean, there's a kid and there's like a mom and pregnancy, I guess, but I don't know. It's got a 6.7 right now on IMDb, 75 Metascore, so it's at least doing well there, and has a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes on 23 reviews, so not a ton, 7.9 average rating, so getting some generally positive buzz, but does not have a long-range forecast right now, looking to be in about 1,200 theaters. So we'll see how well that does. I can't really give comparisons because I'm running up against the wall here. Spent too long talking about Infinity War, man. Too long. But that'll do it for this week. Hopefully you come back next week. We'll talk about what Infinity War does in its second week. We'll see how it holds. We'll have a better idea of what it's going to do going forward. It's going to be interesting. Also see how these three new films stack up in Infinity War Week 2. It'll be great. I'll be here. Hopefully you'll be here too. Catch you on the flip side. And this is Radio DePaul, Chicago's College Connection.